client demands have increased. Business owners are really seeing the value which an accountant bookkeeper brings to their business.
You're so positive and optimistic about AI.
If you can use generative AI along the reports which you produced, that's where the magic happens.
That excites me, and I'm really intrigued to see how that works out. What advice would you give firms looking to implement AI in ways that they can deliver real, actual results off the back of it?
Start small, but also with that, what is your strategy? How are you going to use these tools within your business?
What is the one piece of advice you would give an accounting firm who are holding back on using AI in their practice?
At the end of January, we will only have 300 working days until MTD, April 2026.
In this episode, I chat with Chris Downing, Director of Product Marketing at Sage. Chris, a qualified accountant himself, shares how AI is reshaping the accounting profession, tackling everything from making tax digital to improving work-life balance. Plus, we dive into how AI tools can help firms do more with less, and why now is the time to embrace this technology.
Chris, welcome to the podcast. I've really been looking forward to catching up with you on this one. My dance partner from last year's Accounting Excellence Awards. How are you, Chris? Are you well?
I'm very well, thank you. It's been a busy, long year, hasn't it, 2024? So it's a case of actually maybe having the right rest, but getting ready for, let's say, next year as well.
And maybe getting some dancing lessons. So, yeah, we can finally get that coveted spot on Strictly next year.
Yeah, I'll take some tips from you, of course.
So look, Sage has been a pioneer at integrating AI into accountancy software for a while now. So what's the biggest challenges that you guys have faced, and what's been Sage's approach to overcoming them to ensure that you're successful off the back of it?
Thank you. That's quite kind words in terms of pioneer, but we try to do our best. And when we think about AI, everyone's been getting excited about generative AI. That's been the theme of the game ever since, let's say, OpenAI ChatGPT came along sort of 2 years ago. But really, Sage has always been a leading provider in terms of looking at AI, investing in the R&D for a good 8 years or so, whether that's through our own products, but also, let's say, through strategic acquisitions. But when you think about the last sort of 12, 18 months in terms of actually how we're bringing to life generative AI within our products, it's all about recognizing that AI in accounting isn't just about technology. It's about fostering trust, because it's all about client data, ensuring that data is of high quality, because there's no point asking questions of information unless you can actually trust the quality of that information, but also demonstrating the benefits that AI will bring to accountants and bookkeepers as well as their clients. So this is what we've been doing really well, and also in depth with our variety of teams across Sage, with our numerous products from bookkeeping to payroll as well as practice management. And really part of this pioneering is not just building and creating AI tools which have specific roles and tasks, i.e. that co-pilot, that digital assistant, but also listening and observing how the users are getting the value and the insights and the benefits of these tools alongside what they do.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I wonder if people not get confused with what AI is, but certainly get confused with real AI, what I would call real AI, as opposed to kind of, hey, here's another version of ChatGPT that we're all doing, right? And from what I've seen, Sage have definitely gone a lot deeper than that kind of surface level AI. What's kind of informing that strategy? What's picking the areas that you're focusing on, and what's the logic behind that?
Well, I think when we look at sort of LLMs, large language models like the ChatGPTs or the Google Geminis of the world, they're quite broad in terms of the types of services and the insights they can provide. They are surfacing information which is actually maybe available on the internet, or actually what you feed it specific, let's say, elements of data. But therefore, they can become confused when the whole thing with, let's say, the objective of, let's say, Sage Copilot is your AI assistant actually trained with a purposeful mission. And that mission is to help accountants and bookkeepers and their clients with finance. And therefore, whether that's within, let's say, the bookkeeping tools or alongside payroll HR, they're actually trained to actually really understand the mechanics, the workflows, the needs, the jobs to be done, and therefore has a specific nature, and therefore returns the answers and responses and the insights which people actually desire. which actually this is where when people think about AI of the past or what they've experienced, it's all about technology and tools which are probably a bit more mechanical in terms of the ones and the zeros, following, let's say, a mechanical true and false, a task list, a process, a task hitting on from another task because something's happened or a trigger's happened. When actually the latest themes of AI is all about understanding what may be happening, providing prompts and nudges, providing insights from data, and trying to make that information a little bit more desirable, but also in the background, constantly monitoring and observing in terms of how a person, an accountant, bookkeeper, a business owner is actually working and operating, and actually thinking of ways to actually bring the right information to them and actually try and do some of the little tasks a little bit more efficiently.
I love that nudges thing. I think that's a great way to put it, right? Like that. One of the things that we have here at Silverfin is that exactly that. It always checks your homework for you, and then kind of goes, actually, this doesn't look right. It's not that it isn't wrong, but last year your company turned over 10,000, and this year it's turned over 100,000. That's quite a significant jump. Is that right? And clearly that what's probably happened in that instance is someone's put an extra naught in and click the button and that's gone through, right? But it's that nudge to kind of say, actually, is that right? Is that kind of what you meant to do? That's really interesting. And kind of, I guess, with the suite product you've got, Sage, you've got some really exciting potential there. Like obviously I used to work for Futurely back in the day, and I can imagine around that whole piece of forecasting, reporting, business intelligence, there's some potentially huge applications of AI around there. Is that something that you got? I mean, clearly you guys are thinking about it, but I'm guessing that's something that you've got sharply focused on, is how you can use the product you have and AI and put it together to really deliver insights for your clients and their clients.
Yeah, very much so. And I think, like everything, when you're thinking about technology and you're trying to accelerate the momentum you are as a business to actually help service, let's say, your customers, and the customers are accountants, bookkeepers, and the business owners, is actually what do we build, what do we buy, and who do we partner with? And I think Sage has actually been very strategic in actually acquiring the right technology, which actually puts in a really strong position in the future. And something like Futurely was key to this, because when you think about cash flow forecasting, it's more than just, let's say, a nominal ledger balance and calculation. And it's actually going down to transactional level and understanding the habits and the behaviors of customers and suppliers, volumes and payments, and that really makes a really rich data source to think about how you forecast that. Futurely already does an amazing job of that. But when you think of the benefits that generative AI brings, is I can remember in the good old days doing forecasts myself. You can spin up the numbers, you get really involved and excited about the forecasting, the reports you're producing, and then you've got to do the boring bit. And that's actually doing a narrative over what you've just been reported, understanding the conclusions, the summary, getting that to a document which actually you could share with other stakeholders. That takes time. And let's be honest, accountants are number crunchers, probably not wordsmiths. And therefore, if you can use generative AI along the reports which you produced, that's where the magic happens. That's where the time's saved. And therefore, you can spend more time reviewing, validating, having a conversation about what you produced, and actually adding more value to the output of which people are paying for.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. One of the main ways I use generative AI in my life is taking a large document that I just don't have time to read and getting it to break it down into talking points. And there's a fabulous AI tool out there that will take that a step further and create a 5 to 10 minute podcast of two people talking about that report that goes over the key. So you're like, so not only I can get it in a broken down format, but I can get it down into a broken down format that I listen to. That's even better, because then I'm running, I'm going to the train, I'm walking around London, going to a meeting or an office. I can listen to that whilst I'm working. So that excites me, and I'm really intrigued to see how that works out. And I guess that plays into my next question, which is kind of the talent side of things, right? We know that in the UK especially, there's huge challenges still around talent, around people, and how that kind of is holding, in a way, I would say probably holding firms back, because there's only so much you can do with the people you've got. So do you see AI helping firms to kind of adapt to these pressures, and what specific opportunities do you think it's going to create for them?
Well, fundamentally, AI will allow firms, accounting bookkeepers to basically do more with less. And less is actually the capacity, the human resources which they have today. And let's be honest, the profession has never been busier. It's not just legislation changes, it's technology changes and people to adopt new themes of work. Client demands have increased. And what we have seen out the back end of COVID is that business owners are really seeing the value which an accountant bookkeeper brings to their business. And therefore, they're actually requesting more time to be spent with them. And this is the fact that when you think about the talent and the recruitment challenges which we face in the UK, one is actually getting the right people, the right experience, and it's not just having the conversations, but using the technology in the right way. But also the fact that compliance is still top of, let's say, the needs of a business owner. They want to get accounts done and taxation done correctly. And therefore, when he's thinking about filling that void, it takes time to train people up. What AI enables you to do, yes, was obviously, let's say, free up your time to sort out those mundane tasks, but also at the same time, it helps, let's say, reinforces the knowledge of, let's say, tax legislation, brings that to life. I've seen people actually train their ChatGPT AI model with, let's say, the latest FRSs and be able to ask it, let's say, sensible questions and get responses back which make sense and not, let's say, reams and reams of paragraphs and words. But at the end of the day, AI is there to actually, let's say, automate routines and tasks. And we've seen that with Sage Copilot, be able to spin up emails automatically, try and address some of those self-assessment pain points, but also help enhance that decision-making. And that decision-making isn't just about who I should pay or which customers aren't paying me on time. It's also thinking about what I should be understanding more about my business. For example, most small businesses, they are probably too busy trading to actually look at their turnover threshold, and be able to have that nudge in terms of I may be hitting the VAT threshold is a very useful marker to actually identify potential risk, but also opportunities in how the accountant or bookkeeper can interact with their client and actually sort of manage any sort of VAT changes. But at the end of the day, it's all about improving efficiency.
So you hear it a lot, right? Where people are like, AI is going to come for our jobs. And everyone we've spoken to on this podcast has said, no, it's not. And I'm assuming you're very much of that opinion that it's not going to come for your jobs, but it might take away the stuff that you're not as much a fan of doing, so you can have those real interactions that add value.
We've seen this time and time again. There have been themes of technology which has dropped into our laps over the last 25 years, whether that's the digitalization of self-assessment, real-time reporting with payroll, IXBRL reporting on accounts, or even, let's say, when we saw those amazing tools called Dext, which was Receipt Bank and Auto Entry and HubDoc, they just scan an invoice and pop that into the ledgers. We thought, oh, what are we going to do with our time? Well, we've found plenty of other things to do with our time. And this is what we've seen over the ages. It's a case of as mechanicization comes into place, all it means that we basically spend our time on more rewarding things that we enjoy, but also things which our customers were asking us to actually perform. And this is no different to the accounting sector. There is plenty of work around, there are plenty of jobs to be performed, but also it's a case of when we think about our jobs, we are probably servicing more clients than we ever did before. But also it's a case of those clients need more advice and guidance from us, but also we're trying to validate and verify more information. Clients are becoming more complex. Clients are having side hustles, and therefore, how do we report that upon effectively? How to ensure the data is correct? So Sage has performed an awful lot of research on this, not only in terms of actually the quantification in terms of what jobs need to be done, but also how the market feels about that. And we interviewed over 1,200 accounts and bookkeepers early in the year just about this. And basically the majority are excited about the future. They're optimistic about what AI will bring to their profession. They see it as an amazing way to recruit the right talent into the profession. They're going to see exactly what we've all been striving for, a better work-life balance. I'm not saying you're going to be taking Fridays off, but at least the hours that we wish, and not actually maybe dreading those Monday mornings because we haven't done the jobs we were supposed to have done last week. The whole point is AI is there to make our lives better. It's up to us how we use that AI within our careers and in our profession.
I love it. You're so positive and optimistic about AI. It's refreshing. And hey, look, a tech a tech company that has AI baked into their company, they're hardly going to come on and go, I'm quite pessimistic about this. But actually, you can genuinely see that you and Sage as a business are super optimistic. And I've been at the events where you guys are heavily pushing the conversation and the trend on AI. It's nice to see. So I guess the biggest problem I see is that there's a lot of AI products out there. There's a lot of faux AI products out there as well, but there's a lot of AI products out there. And one of the hardest things is turning that into value itself. Because it's great for us to sit here on a podcast and say, hey, it's going to give you time, it's going to save you money, it's going to do all these things. But tangibly, that becomes a bit harder, right? So what advice would you give firms looking to implement AI in ways that they can deliver real, actual results off the back of it and not just kind of, something that's on paper to talk about?
As we've seen with any piece of technology which has come into our radar, and we've all seen bright, shiny things, we like to grab it and see how we use it. Those firms who are seeing real value are taking the approach of AI starts with small little steps. You need to focus on the important things, i.e. what quality of data, what data have you got and how good is it? Then actually tangibly identify those applications which you should be using and those jobs you're wishing to solve or just make easier. But also the other key thing is actually ensuring you got the right team around you, getting the right support, the right education, the right awareness of what you can do with technology. And I think one of the challenges, let's say the accounting bookkeeping community or profession in the UK has, is about 80% of the profession are made up of sole practitioners, maybe only employing 1 or 2 staff, which means that when they've got the capacity to actually play and learn and explore what these tools can do, they're quite limited because they're trying to deliver the day job. So this is why really part of, let's say, the technology's role, and every technology business has this role, this purpose, is to actually showcase what you can do, but also handhold, let's say, the user in terms of actually using this technology properly. So therefore, the key thing is start small, but also with that, what is your strategy? How are you going to use these tools within your business? But also the inevitability is that clients are going to be asking and seeking and getting guidance and wish to have guidance how to use AI within their own businesses. So like everything, be the experts and the knowledgeable participants in AI, which they basically means you're in a stronger position to actually educate and actually provide services to your clients about it. So therefore, identify the stakeholders, who's going to be involved, who's going to be doing, who's going to be observing. Think about where the AI should be sat as an external facing tool or an internal efficiency facing tool. But like everything, I have to do the boring bit. And the boring bit is you need to have an AI policy. What is your approach into reviewing the technology you've got? Where is the data being held? Are you documenting in terms of how your clients are engaging with the technology? And also, what is your approach in terms of data sharing? And this is where it really goes back to why we are seeing the emergence of, let's say, co-pilots in various, let's say, professions and industries, because really the data is going to be secured. It gives, let's say, the user the confidence the data is kept in one place. But also it means that the AI assistant is very focused on the task as well.
I think that's some pretty sound advice there. Yeah, I think, look, there's so much potential here, and sometimes you can get lost within that. So, Chris, I've given you a crystal ball here. You're going to look into the future. What do you think AI and accountancy will look like in the years to come? And I guess, from what you can share, what's Sage's vision of what AI and accountancy can be and hopefully will be in the forthcoming years?
Well, I believe that the future of AI in accounting is all about enhancing the partnership. And AI will basically make compliance and automation easier, give you confidence in terms of the information you've got, making small tasks and jobs almost, let's say, disappear in the background, which means you can then concentrate on what accountants are great at doing, having conversations and providing insights to their clients and giving reassurance about their businesses. But when we actually think of the tangible themes which will be happening in accounting, our CTO, Aaron Harris, talks about this quite regularly, is the fact they almost see the close disappearing. So effectively, rather than let's say relying on, let's say, a month end or a year end date, accounting information will be automatically categorized, identified, put into the right general ledger items. As accountants, we're always reviewing and validating information, looking at other sources for assurance in terms of quality. That can be automated. Just imagine a receipt, an invoice, whether that's invoicing, which is going to make more of an electronic transfer of information, or if you're still reviewing paper copies, how do you validate the information? All of that will be automated. Then also think, what do we do with that information? Our role primarily is producing sets of accounts and tax returns or VAT returns. This is the consolidation of data in the right buckets, identifying the right tax liabilities need to be paid, all of which can be automated, but all of which can give us confidence in the information which we're delivering, which basically means we'll be in a position to provide the right insights in a more proactive manner with our clients. So straight away, real-time reporting, I mean proper real-time reporting, understanding what the business is performing, having real confidence in where the business will be within 3 weeks, 3 months' time, 6 months' time in terms of cash flow and any other sort of economic factors. Our roles as accounts and bookkeepers will certainly be far more strategic. And we are strategic advisors now. It's just that we'll have the capacity to really concentrate and work with those clients who want the advice. And let's be honest, a lot of clients, they just want to know what their tax liability is. But a lot of clients do wish to have a little bit of guidance in terms of how they can perform better. So effectively, it's enhancing our relationships and giving our capacity to actually invest in our own businesses, whether that's being innovative in the service we deliver, reviewing the services and the pricing we've got, take on staff in the way we wish to manner, or really just have the capacity to really think about the growth and the opportunities of our businesses. At the end of the day, it's going to enhance what we do best, which is compliance, allowing us to do more and spending time with our clients.
Love that. So last couple of questions then, Chris, and they're the quick fire ones. So my first one, outside of Sage, of course, what is your favorite AI tool?
It varies. And this is the whole point. I am invested in AI, experimenting what's possible. I have invested with ChatGPT and doing it properly, and also doing it properly, you pay for it. If you want to get value, you pay for the service. But I am now really playing with Microsoft Copilot, because that's where I'm getting the real value, because it's working alongside my day-to-day tools. But also it's a case of I'm geeking out in terms of what Sage Copilot's delivering, in terms of the bookkeeping, as well as the payroll opportunities, as well as practice management. So it's a case of keeping it simple, as I suggested, keep your tools to a small number, but being experts in that. And that's what we've always done. You always have a favorite platform or solution and you become the expert of it. Yes, there are some great little photo editing tools. I probably quite like using CapCut for sort of video editing and image manipulation, because as we both know, it takes time to do that. You need something to help you. But fundamentally, my role is looking at data, analyzing information, drafting and working out webinars and content, which is all about bringing data together and creating those starters for 10, which then allows me to put my own, let's say, spin on that information sharing.
Yeah, love that. So final question, what is the one piece of advice you would give an accounting firm who are holding back on using AI in their practice?
Well, let's be honest. When we think about self-assessment is ending at the end of January, we will only have 300 working days until MTD, April 2026. And I actually believe HMRC deferred MTD just so that AI could be in a ready state to enable us to actually create that capacity. So when we think about that traffic of information, the communication, the multitude of deadlines, getting clients to on board and hopefully get excited about using technology and bookkeeping tools, AI allows us to do that. AI will allow us to reduce the tasks, understand our client needs. Clients will see technology as more desirable because they're getting insights we never thought was possible. So therefore, it's a case of if an accounting firm wants to be ready for making tax digital, wants to own it, be more profitable, because it's a single opportunity when every client will have to be reviewed, repriced, and re-engaged, you have to invest and look at some of these AI tools to actually see about how you can implement it in your practice. And also at the end of the day, gain the efficiency which you actually deserve from using technology within the accounting profession.
Thanks, Chris. That was awesome. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Silver Linings Podcast, which was written and produced by me, Phil Hopton, and Lara Bolsonaro. The podcast is edited by Lee Stallard and Nomad Video. If you'd like to find out more about Silverfin, you can visit us at silverfin.co.uk or check us out on LinkedIn.